I'm joined today by Celia Hodson, who's the founder of a social enterprise called Hey Girls. Celia, tell me some more. Tell me about Hey Girls and how it's come about.
So Hey Girls is a really very simple concept. So it's just a buy one, give one sanitary product. So for every packet of pads or tampons that we sell online or in store, we give a box away to a UK girl in need. So that's the important thing, is that it's a UK beneficiary that's receiving our donated box of products.
So let's talk about period poverty. I imagine a lot of people, particularly living in the UK, don't really understand it to be the scale of the issue that perhaps it is.
Yeah, no, it isn't something that most people are aware of. When we talk about period poverty and girls not having access to menstrual products, people think it's China, they think it's Africa, they don't think that it's in Suffolk, that it's in Glasgow, that it's all over the UK. And the stats are pretty scary. So it's 1 in 10 women across the UK, girls across the UK, don't have access to menstrual products. It's 1 in 7 in London. By the time you get up to the top of the UK into Scotland, that's 1 in 5. So 20% of the population are struggling to access good quality menstrual products. So yeah, it's pretty scary, isn't it?
And how did you become aware of this, the gravity of this issue?
There's a lot of amazing campaign that goes on around period poverty. There was a piece that happened around the tampon tax, when campaigners were saying, why are we paying 20%, 15% tax on a menstrual product when you only pay, in fact you don't pay VAT on a packet of Jaffa cakes? Should we all wear Jaffa cakes in our pants? So there's that kind of piece going on, saying this isn't a luxury item, the luxury tax is the tax. And there is free access to condoms but no free access to tampons or pads. So what's all that about when we talk about equality and diversity and gender equality? So there's a lot of noise that goes on around that, and it's amazingly active and vocal and full-on campaigning, which I think is phenomenal. But we wanted to do something that, while all that noise was going on and politicians deliberate around the tampon tax, what could we do to make a difference every day? So we thought reselling might be an answer to that.
And how does the concept work?
Yeah, it's you might have heard of Tom's Shoes, which was an American company, and very simply, for every pair of sand shoes or sneakers that you bought, they donated a pair of shoes to a child in school. And there's been quite a few organisations have set up with that model. So we thought that was a really great way to instantly donate. And if you think about something that you do every month and you resent having to pay for, when you go and get your shopping and you put a packet and you go, God, look how much that is. The thought that you could actually do that shop and instantly be giving a pack away to a girl in need, another woman, seemed like a really powerful message. So that's exactly how it works. So if you buy a packet in Waitrose in say Stowmarket, no, it's not. You have to edit that. Sorry. So if you buy a packet in Waitrose in Saxmundham, you know that a packet is being donated to a girl in your locality. So you don't buy in Scotland and they're donated into Bethnal Green. You buy a packet locally, and that matched product goes out locally. And that's really important, I think, in terms of building community and that feeling of helping someone local. So that's the way it works. It's pretty simple.
So we should say at this point, Celia, you're no stranger to the world of social enterprise. This isn't something that you just had to kind of learn. You've actually, through your career, helped a number of people to either start or develop social enterprises.
Yeah, it's a very different thing when you're supporting someone else and giving advice to when you're doing it yourself. I have so much more respect for social entrepreneurs than I did when I was giving out business advice. So I started, I guess, in that lobbying kind of policy space. I was at Social Enterprise UK, so that was around lobbying government to accept social enterprise as a mainstream way of doing business. And I ran a cooperative development agency in Cambridgeshire, which was about supporting communities to buy assets and turn them into viable enterprises like the village hall and that kind of thing, and then supported individuals who had an amazing idea to change the world, and supported them around getting their legal structure sorted out and then moving into a trading position. So with the School for Social Entrepreneurs or with the Eastern Enterprise Hub or with Journeys for Change, just sort of in that support kind of space, but not actually doing it myself. So yeah, Hey Girls was a bit of an eye-opener, really.
You're modest about your career backstory, but you did have a phone call to ask you to go to Australia to deliver the work.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a surprise, and I was very happy doing what I was doing. I had no intention to leave. I'd never been to Australia, so for someone to phone me up and say, how do you fancy going to Australia to run the School for Social Entrepreneurs for us, was a bit of a, I didn't see that coming. But I think you get to the stage in your life where you think, well, why not? Why not give it a go? What's the worst thing that can happen? And it felt a little bit like being 18 and doing a year out kind of thing or whatever. So just packed up and off I went. Had never been to Australia, was interviewed for the role via Skype and just arrived and went, I'm here. So I did that for 3.5, 4 years, and then I did work in India, which was around supporting career shifters who had amazing corporate careers, who had that kind of feeling that maybe it was time to do something else. Great salary, huge position, all the kudos, but actually my soul feels empty and I need to do something else. So took those out to India to experience social entrepreneurship in India, which is a very interesting space to get into. And see what that did to them around the way they thought about what they could give back. And then the same thing in Brazil. So working in the favelas, you take a business leader on there, so maybe someone from the NHS or PwC, and you take them into a favela in Rio, and it's a bit of a culture shock. So yeah, really interesting.
Do you think globally we're shifting into a new era around people embracing that kind of philanthropic and the need to find purpose over and above just achieving in our corporate worlds? Do you think it feels like perhaps there's been quite a shift in the last few years?
Yeah, I think there's two ends of that kind of shift. So I think there's people who have had big careers and are not ready to sort of hang up their boots. They've learned all these amazing skills and they're now ready to sort of pay it forwards. So if you're a phenomenal accountant or a logistics professional or governance or whatever, then social enterprises who are with potential to grow or on a growth trajectory need those hard commercial skills. So there's a great opportunity there to either go in as a management level or go onto their board or do mentoring. And then I think there's this sort of Gen Y who are coming out of university wanting a great career, but they're lifting the bonnet on their employer and seeing what's underneath before they commit. So where are you procuring services from, products from? What is this organisation doing to make the world a better place? So I think there's that kind of, both ends are coming at it from a different way. And there's a lot of very large companies are becoming B corporations or going through the process, because that B Corp piece looks at every part of your enterprise and says, how are you being an amazing employer? How are you managing work-life balance? How are you procuring services? What's your environmental impact? And yes, you're a huge organisation, but there's no reason why you can't do the right thing whilst being that amazingly huge organisation. So I think it's been pushed out from a few different angles now.
And have you been heartened through your process with Hey Girls by the response that you've had from corporate support as you put this message out there?
I've been blown away by the amount of support. I think I've always been a huge believer in ask your network. If you have a great network full of talented people, if you just ask them to help you with one little thing, if you give them a huge list of I need this and I need this and I need, then they haven't got time where everybody's busy. But if you just say to someone, can you just have a look at this? Can you just run your eye over my business plan? Can you see if these numbers make sense? Have you got a view on what this legal position would be? If you just ask someone for a little bit of guidance, then they'll say, gosh, of course I can, I'll do it over lunch, and then they'll flick you the answer. So I think if you just reach out to your community and see what happens. I use LinkedIn to ask what someone said to me was the daft lassie question. You can ask a really stupid question, what might feel like a stupid question, but if you don't understand logistics or a certain kind of legal model, or you can just ask a really basic question. And I threw mine out on LinkedIn and said, can anybody advise me 5 things to be aware of whilst importing from China? And within minutes I got people with really sensible, watch out for this, think about customs, think about where your product is put in a warehouse, check your barcodes. I hadn't even thought about barcodes at that stage. So you just ask for little bits of support and someone will be there, someone will
a huge advantage of social media when we spend so much time criticising it, perhaps.
Yeah, use it wisely.
Now, tell me about Richard Branson.
Yeah, Richard Branson blasted all over social media with Richard Branson. So we started Hagel's on the 7th of January, and within a few weeks of that got an email or social media alert saying that the Virgin Startup Scotland competition was being had gone live, and how about applying for it. And I sort of filled in the form as a sort of bit of a throwaway, really. Didn't really have time to do, but actually sometimes filling in an application form for anything condenses your thinking, makes you just
crystallises the vision.
Absolutely, yeah. So filling it in was really quite an interesting process. And on the end of it, it said do a 1.5 minute pitch or something like that to video on your iPhone. So I did that and just sent it, and I didn't think about it again. And then we found out that we were shortlisted to the final 50, which meant then you had to go meet an accountant who went all over your numbers, which was quite horrific, actually, having someone asking you all those questions that you would never really want anyone to ask you. And then we found out we were shortlisted to the final 20 odd or so. And then there was an evening event where we pitched the final 10, pitched to an audience, and from that we were selected as the overall winner for Virgin Startup Scotland. So yeah, pretty cool. And part of the prize, I guess, was that you get mentoring, which was really valuable at that stage in our growth. So had a couple of mentoring sessions with some of the judges that were on the awards, and then having a group mentoring session with 2 of the other 10, with a lady who ran a women's investing network, an angel investor network, and just sitting there having this kind of a conversation about leadership. And in walks this guy and said, "Hi, oh gosh, that's Richard Branson," which was pretty exciting. So we all had a one-to-one chat with him, and then a group chat with him, and then lots and lots of photographs. But yeah, it was pretty cool to meet him. And I remember saying to my daughter, so I've just bumped into Richard Branson, and I expected her to say, "So Mum, what amazing business advice did Richard Branson give you?" And she said to me, "So what did he smell like?" He's really lovely, yeah, he's very nice, and he had very, very dusty shoes, but I thought it was really quite interesting, the questions she asked.
You mentioned your daughter there, and I know that family's really important to you. You're a mother and you're a grandmother. Tell me a little bit about some of your background as a mother at times of real struggle, and how that's kind of informed where you are with Hey Girls today.
Yeah, so I guess I'm like a lot of women of my age, got married really young, probably way too young. I was still a girl when I got married, and then I had 3 children pretty close together, and then separated from my husband, and ended up bringing up those kids on benefits, and it was really tough, really tough bringing up 3 kids. And so I suppose in those days you didn't talk about being in poverty, and you didn't talk about period poverty. It wasn't something that anybody had talked about, but it was, I was having to manage without menstrual products, and juggling that that balance between buying the family shopping and paying the bills. And at times it was pretty difficult, and a lot of people in poverty now are turning to doorstep lending to help them over a hump, which it's a slippery slope. It's very difficult to get away from, and that I found it eats away at your self-esteem in long term. We can all go without for a couple of weeks, probably for a month. We can live off what's in the back of the cupboard, but actually when the cupboards are fairly bare, it really starts to bite. So bringing up my kids like that and managing, and then if you sort of skip forward 20 years or so, this thing called period poverty started to raise its head in the UK, that girls were struggling to get access to product, were missing school, weren't taking part in sports, the working poor were really struggling to manage. And so my daughter said, right, Mum, what are we going to do? Come on, my girls are pretty feisty. Once they get an idea, what we can do, we're going to raise some money, we're going to campaign. And we said, well, actually, maybe we could do something around retailing. Maybe we could do, some kind of a sell product and give product and donations, or give the money away. And then when we really started to think about it, we thought, well, actually, buy one, give one is a really obvious, easy to understand kind of way of selling product. So,
and you've got the products here with us today. So how do we get people to start purchasing these products here?
Yeah, so we only started trading in early January, and we put our things online. We built an e-commerce platform, and it's a pretty cute website. It's full of all our girls, and the girls on the packaging are all our volunteers, which is really nice. And so when we went live with that, you can buy product, you can buy whatever, ones, tens, whatever you need. You can subscribe, and so you get your monthly delivery. Every month you get whatever product, whether you use day or night. Or you can just donate. So not everybody uses pads, so if you still want to do something, then you just go on and you donate, either a one-off, or you can do a monthly subscription donation, knowing that every time you do that, somebody is receiving product. So that started to when we launched, we had a huge media campaign around the launch of it. So the sales went Zoom, and then as that media drops, I thought, okay, it's all going to go away now, but it had a little dip, and then it went Zoom. So it's been quite an interesting journey just watching that retailing part happen online. Then we pitched to Asda and Waitrose, expecting them to sort of say, squat, go away, you little startup, upstarts, who do you think you are? But both of them said, yes, we'll have the product. And so we're going into 80 Waitrose stores and 226 Asda stores from August this year, which is amazing / incredibly scary. So that means we'll have presence in the community. People see it on the shelves, and that will make a huge difference.
It's really not such a restful retirement, is it?
Stupid, isn't it? Really, yeah. Thinking about, I was going to garden now. That's it. I'm going to be a granny. I'm going to garden, and I joined the local horticultural society, thinking that's all my time for doing that kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's not restful. It's seven days a week. I start at 6 and I close my laptop at 10. So it's full on. Great though, really, really great.
So for any woman out there who's thinking it's too late for me to develop a business, start a social enterprise, get involved in a campaign, or I don't have the skill set, I don't have the experience, what would your overriding message be?
I think probably if it's burning away at you, if you're thinking about it all day, every day, and you can't shut it out, then probably you've got to move to action. I think you can. I wish I had, but actually, if it's there all the time, you probably need to start to do something about it. And I don't think it's ever too late. I don't think it's ever too soon. Different parts of life bring different knowledge and experience, and I didn't think 20, 30, 40 years ago I would be the founder of a menstrual product enterprise. So I think you just don't know where life goes, and I think if you've got a burning feeling that it's something that you need to do something about, something you need to make a change, or you just don't feel fulfilled, what you're doing is great, but actually there's something more, then you need to explore it and really start to think, is this something that I could create? And then I guess work out whether it's going to be a hobby, something that fits in around your life, or that this is something that you're going to dedicate a huge amount of time to.
It's been a real pleasure to chat to you. Thanks so much, Celia. Really appreciated your time.
Cool, most welcome.